It's edging ever closer. This is the Road to Cheltenham, and we are just 3 weeks away from the greatest show on turf. As always, Frankie and Joel have joined us to reflect on last weekend's racing, and Joel's enjoying the delights of half-term with the children. We're taking time out to join us to reflect on what was a less than informative weekend, really. I was expecting a little bit more from a couple of runners and didn't really deliver, Joel.
No, like I say, I've been away in Scarborough, going back to my parents. I'm in York now, outside Creepy Crawley's entertainment centre. So I've just disappeared for an hour to do this for you and him, which is
That is a
nice.
children's entertainment centre, isn't it? Just to...
Yeah. So the highlight of the day yesterday and Saturday, to be fair, was being in the motorway, saying, try and get the kids involved. Right, which one's going to win? I think it's going to be the red one. I think it's going to be this one. So what watching it on 3G, 4G on the way down the motorway is not the best way. But I watched it all back this morning, and I shouldn't have wasted 2.5 hours of my life, really.
I similarly watched it all on 4G because I was in a Welsh pub and they insisted having the rugby on. So I didn't see. I was all watched it on my phone as well the whole weekend. Frankie, so we're relying on you to have an in-depth review on what we saw over the last few days.
Well, I was at Wincanton, so I can give us that much, and I have spent this morning watching it back. I think it was a frustrating weekend because what happened this weekend at Haydock, particularly, and Wincanton, was on really testing conditions. So there were some races that I think are a bit muddled, and we had some course and ground specialists winning, didn't we? Which might not hold up as festival form unless it goes, heavy ground for the festival, but it's unlikely. So yeah, I think a few C&D specialists and ground specialists, but maybe not Cheltenham Festival winners. There might be a few though. We'll have a look.
Right, well, there's only one place to start. And talking of course and distance specialists, this isn't one of them because everything was against Lawn Press at the weekend. I'm going to start with Joel because he kind of mentioned this on the group chat, didn't you, about his Gold Cup chances. Look, he jumped to the left. It was a trip short of his best. He stuck on against a 2.5 mile specialist in PicDOrhy. But you were quite taken, and you think the fact he's been pushed out to 14-1, you won't mind a bit of that.
Well, no, it's the horse hasn't changed over the space of the week. Just a jump to the left, a trip too short, as you say, time warp style. If you like long press, you get in an extra couple of points. A hoist senior, I've said this before, don't like to have a pop at jocks, but I wouldn't have taken Derek Fox. I wouldn't have taken Steve McQueen off that horse. I would have had Dr. Fox off that and Steve McQueen on there. I don't know what you were doing in that race, to be fair. Why is he suddenly, a hold-up horse? He used to pop from the front and, go with that. And I thought Harry Cobden outrode him, to be fair. And then Sail Away was doing his best Langadan. So if you like Lohan Press, there's nothing to put you off the Gold Cup there. But Hoyson, you really disappointed me. And I think we'll go Ryanair now.
Well, did you say that? Because I think Frankie, that's probably why he ran at Ascot, wasn't it, Hoyson?
Yeah, I'm probably the same opinion as Joel on both those things. If you liked Long Press before the weekend, there's nothing that should put you off him for the Gold Cup because that wasn't his race and it was PicDOrhy's race. And even if you listen to Charlie Deutsch after, he said they were going too quick from the get-go. He had to nudge him along. Don't think he was ever that happy. Didn't jump as well as he can as a result of going a little bit quicker than he likes. So look, the Gold Cup round Cheltenham over in 3 and a bit is a very different race to round Ascot over 2 and 5. So yeah, if you liked him before, you got a couple of extra points. And as I look at the Gold Cup market, we all know I think Galloping Deschamps is going to win the Gold Cup, but fast or slows, beatable, I think. Shishkin throws in a bad one, definitely beatable. Jerry Colomb, I haven't been super impressed with. Hewitt needs good ground. Gentleman's Game hasn't had a good prep. So as you go through the market, bar Galloping, I think Long Press can certainly mix it with them. So I wouldn't put you off an each way bet at 14s anyway. And then, yeah, Hoyson, I'd like to see him go from the front and I'd like to see him go to the Ryanair. His performance at Cheltenham last time actually wasn't that bad. Obviously, the stirrups broke, which killed his race. But until that point, he was going all right. And I think Ryanair, go from the front, attack your fences, do what he used to do when he was racing better than he is now, and take your chances, would be my opinion with him.
Interesting then. So to discuss there, Hoyson, then maybe for the Ryanair. Let's stick with you then, Frankie, because you're at Wincanton, you're saying Nemean Lion, very impressed with the King, well backed as well to go on and win that, beating an Irish runner in Colonel Mustard. Would you go champion hurdle for a bit of place money potentially, or would you go down the handicap route with him?
Yeah, frustrating one, isn't he? Nemean Lion, he was smashed in the betting. It's just a shame that last time when we all backed him at 8-1, he finished second in a handicapper for 140. And then he's obviously been put at £5, not that it was a handicap at the weekend, and performed really well, but it wasn't that much of a strong race. I'm just getting the champion market up now, because I suppose there is a case to be made at 50-1 or whatever it is to pick up some place money. Constitution Hill will be 1, State Man will be 2, Lossiemouth won't go, Doubt Irish Point will, Not So Sleepy is about 100 years old, Echoes and Rains, Out the Brave, you know, all these horses as you go further down. Could Nemean Line mix it in at 50s? Maybe, but if I owned him, I wouldn't bother. I'd go to the handicaps. He's been racing towards the top of the weights in handicaps anyway, so I'd have a crack there. But as with many, probably needs testing ground to be seen at his best, or he does, doesn't he? Joel's found new ground, as we can see.
Just about to say that. Yeah, don't forget you can like and subscribe, watch us on YouTube, listen on Spotify. But if you are watching, Joel has gone from the confines of his car into a nice big wide open space. So basically, he's streaming with a bunch of kids running around.
This is really weird, and I'm on a bin at any point. So at any point, I could just go absolutely flying. I mean, Matt goes flying. Nemean Lion, that was his day, though, wasn't it? I mean, early prices. 6-7-1, something like that, into 6-5. Anytime we backed him, he's not done the business. I was looking today, I didn't realise it was Godolphin Castoff. They paid, was it $250,000 for him as a yearling? I didn't know that. Trained by Andre Farb, and then Kerry Lee picked him up about, was it 18 grand or something, 16 grand. So they've had that back tenfold. Had a couple of touches on him. So I think the way the owners are, I think they're running that champion hurdle just for the Billy Big Balls, and I've got a runner in there and maybe pick up 5th or 6th prize money. But I thought Frankie'd be straight back to you talked about it's Rubo, first of all, was a really short price favourite, wasn't it? Drifted and drifted and drifted. Yeah. I don't know if that was the right price or something was wrong.
Ground,
and if you look at that, yeah, Colonel Mustard ran his usual race, came second. Goshen ran his usual race, and you know what happened there. But I think they would go for champion hurdle with this, just for the glory of it and a nice day out, and you might get a free table or some lunch.
Yeah, why not roll the dice? There we go. Something's going to come 3rd and 4th, hasn't it? And decent prize money. I was going to talk about Botox Has, but he isn't going to go for the stage. He may go to Fontwell this weekend, and then Aintrey's going to be on his agenda, but he's a very impressive winner of the Rendlesham, Frankie.
He was. The nap landed. Was an impressive winner, but again, just soft ground Haydock specialist. You know, he's won the last 3 times he's won was at the weekend on heavy ground at Haydock. The time before was at Wetherby, which was officially soft, but it was brutal conditions that day. And then the time he won before that was at soft ground on Haydock. So he looks a bit of a soft ground specialist. It's a shame, really, because, you know, if it did come up soft for the stairs, you'd put him to place. He wasn't actually miles behind Noble Yates at Cheltenham, and he did the hard work from the front. And it's better ground that day. So those that could conserve a bit of energy on the way around just had a bit more of a kick in the finish to go past him. But he was only 5 lengths off the winner. And I could see him get a lot closer to that sort of standard in soft ground. So yeah, he's a shame, but he's definitely one I'd only back when it's testing conditions. But yeah, a decent winner for the weekend.
It was a good day for Gary Moore, Joel, because he had Botox Has and also Salver. Again, they're not sure if he's going to go for the Triumph. He was backed into 14-1 now, 10-1 for that now. But that soft ground looks key to him, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's got to be soft ground there. And I think one of the concerns, and you two can put me right on this or put me wrong, with Jamie Moore finishing up and Josh Moore not being around. You've got the 2 young kids, Caelan Quinn and Nat Houlihan. Both have been really, really good in certain points. I don't think Caelan's had a win around Cheltenham yet, has he? He's only had 7 rides, maybe. Or am I wrong? I'm trying to.
Might not. And Nat Houlihan has. And
Nat Houlihan. Does Gary Moore need to go to invest in a jockey, or these 2 the real deal? Both young lads and both promising, but
I'm a big fan of
stick with him. He said in the paper today, there's a quote. He says he's going to stick in. They're here every day, and I love continuity. They know the horses. Unless I think they don't get on with certain horses, I don't see any point using anyone else. So yeah, he's sticking with them.
Oh, that's cool. I like Caelan Quinn.
Caelan Quinn. I think he's got, well, both of them actually, both of them. But
he's a tall lad as well, Caelan, isn't he? Very tall lad. Yeah. But they're both young, and I didn't know if certain owners, would want a showbiz jockey on. I'm not for that. I'm all for the best available. And if they are the best available, then cool. But yeah, going back to your question, weather wins. Warwick, Exeter, Chepstow, Aydock, soft ground. That's your key.
It is, yeah. If there's a deluge, could be a big player in that upturn Sergina. Right, whilst Joggins finds another place to go, it's like a little tour of York. Let's talk about the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Another one for Willie Mullins. Tullyhill, impressive yesterday, Frankie. He's just dominating the market in the Supreme, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the 1, 2, 3, hasn't he? Ballyburn, Tullyhill, Mystical Power, and then there's obviously the Willie Mullins bingo, and you look at the Ballymore, or the Bingham, actually, I should say, and again, Ballyburn could go there in Atlantic, reading Tommy wrong. He's got a bit of an army for the novice hurdles. I played the game of trying to figure out what I would do if we took owners' input out of it, and we were just trying to pick the right horses to win both races, and I think Ballyburn will win either, whatever he goes to. I think he's that good. So the question then beckons of what's more winnable with the rest of them. And me personally would be with Il Atlantic or Reading Tommy Wrong, who've done the 1-2 in a grade 1 already. And I think both have improvement left in them to win the Bingham and send Ballyburn to win the Supreme would be my preference if owners and opinion didn't come into it just on ability. Just don't think Tullyhill's and Mystical Power have proven enough, like in Atlantic and Reading Tommy Wrong have in the grade 1s. But yeah, Tullyhill was back on track, wasn't it?
It is, and the thing is with him and Ballyburn is a case of speed or stamina. He seems to have both. Tullyhill, that was the inside track at Punchestown yesterday, which is quite nippy. And he did it really nicely. So maybe he is a target for the Supreme. Mystical Power certainly looks like a 2-miler. And obviously still undecided where Ballyburn goes, Joel.
Yeah, I was really impressed by Tullyhill yesterday. Oh, Tullyhill rather yesterday. And a lot of my mates had said, "Oh, given an easy lead, it had already gone. Nothing else was at it behind." But I looked through some of the Supreme betting, and it was nearly as big as 66-1 at one point when he got turned over at it was 8-1 on, wasn't it? And it went out 66-1 in places, 20s, 25 generally, and now into sevens now. And I was because if you look at especially the DRF, and it's got more like this where we always talk about Willie Mullins bit and going, where do they go and whatever. But he's got 2 or 3, 4 sometimes for each race. And if the good thing doesn't win, he doesn't mind about the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th string winning. So I'd have Tullyhill in the Supreme. And if
they're all different owners, aren't they?
Yeah. And it's not like one of them's not trying. It's that they're all going for it. So if your fab doesn't win, then the 2nd or 3rd string.
If you take a look, if you actually go back through Tullyhill's form, when he was beaten was over 2 miles and 6 furlongs. It's a completely different race, and it was in a time when some of Willie Mullins's better horses weren't performing and were beaten. So if you take that out, like wrong trip, bad time of year. Tullyhill finished 2nd to a Dream to Share in a bumper last year, and a Dream to Share was, your favourite for the Supreme at the start of the year, and then has got back on track and done it nicely over 2 miles, and looked pretty professional doing it. I think he definitely deserves to be up there anyway.
Yeah, look, I watched it back this morning. The one where he got beat on when he's 1-8 or whatever it was. I made the notes. They just jumped left, keen, smashed every other hurdle, was done, and then was eased. Trainer not in form, at point, and then you just go back to beaten by a Dream to Share. I mean, 7-1 is probably a little bit tight now, but 20-1 looked good last week.
Yeah, so Willie Mullins dominated Supreme then. Right, quick chat about the Pertemps hurdle because another qualifier. Captain Dibble, Lord Snooty, and yesterday joined Geoffroy, who'd already qualified. Obviously came 4th in that one. Again, can we take this form at face value, Joel? Because it was running a quagmire.
No, not really. And you keep calling him, and you put it on our notes this week. You keep calling him Captain Dibble. That was the horse from the mid to late 90s. It's Cuthbert Dibble. Yeah. Cuthbert Dibble rather. Lord Snooty should have won, maybe. I mean, they were going for a touch on this. I put unlucky, 4 out, was not back, ran on well, was beaten half a length. Should he have won? Could he have won? I think probably, yeah. Yesterday needs to brush up on jumping. And the is it Jaffroy, whatever it's called, lost the shoe. So it was something that I'd have bet on Lord Snooty, so they're from pocket talking. It should have won. I think it went off about 5-1, something like that. But I didn't take a lot from the race, to be fair. I looked at it and thought you should have won on that, Cock.
Talking through his pocket. What about you, Frankie?
I don't think there's a Cheltenham Festival winner in there. It
No.
was a bit of a bog, not top class horses. Lord Snooty, there might be a handicap coming up at Chepstow in a few weeks. The Welsh Wizard might strike there on home turf if he doesn't get hiked up for that bizarre race. But yeah, that'd be the one to look out for, not a festival tip.
Have you had the word? Interesting. Keep an eye on Lord Snooty. They'd actually tried to run in Ireland, tried to win them, didn't they? Was it Galway?
Yeah.
I think recently. Frank, I'll start with you first. Anything else on the weekend that caught your eye? Obviously, the handicap entries are out this week. Anything caught your eye for those races?
Tell me, he's not entered at, well, we'll find out, but might be a bit mad of a shout here, but Chamblou in the Ultima, I think, wouldn't be the worst shout in the world. He's obviously had his troubles, hasn't he, after that terrible fall at Wetherby, and then taken his time to get back on track. But he was rated in the 150s when he was at the top of his game. He's taken some time to get back to what he needs to, and he was really well backed at the weekend, ridden confidently. He clattered one, maybe 4 or 5 out, and then Harry had to ask him up for the next couple just to get him back in the race. So I think that maybe took a bit of energy out of him and zapped him a bit in the finish. And he actually ran a good race in what was a classy field, really, with 3 under 3-5 the winner, Rapper in there as well. What's the Venetia horse called that I tipped up? Yeah, Victorino. Like that's a good top 4. So again, depending on where he runs and what his mark is and all the rest of it, but if he's back up towards his best, I think he'd be in with a chance.
Chamblou potentially the ultimate. So we'll find out the entries this week. Anything catch your eye, Joel? Watching it on 4G on your way to Scarborough?
One that did catch me eye. Actually, one was like, yeah, man, all right, it's Irish, it's Gavin Cromwell, but that looked beaten, didn't it? And then it was like something had kicked in, some magical force had just kicked in, and I don't feel pain. And yeah, that was one for me. Famous Bridge as well. I mean, look, I know you put it up. Was going well, wasn't it?
It was lobbing round.
Yeah, 17th fence, wasn't it? And I put a note for that because that was going well. That was going well for me. So, and seated at the 17th. Put Rapper up at 25, beating the length. And of course, I said that 3 under 5 wouldn't win because it was too high in the handicap. The jockey change on that since Harry Cobden's taken over is that. Nothing that I found for a handicap this weekend. I've just been going through the selections for the next week of our Cheltenham picks. That's what I'm looking at. And I've got a few, and I don't know which one to pick.
Well, you got to be. Well, I'll tell you what. Then you've got about 90 seconds to decide, because I will start with Frankie then, if you like, for this week's anti-post pick. We're 6 down. We've got 3 more left, so I'd suggest we start picking wise. And of course, the handicap entries will be out, so we'll know more about those next week. Mr. Foster, what is this week's offering?
Yes, well, with the handicap entries coming out, we'll leave them and try and find some nice prices in the handicaps in the last couple of weeks. But now I think is the time to get some favourites on the board in races that will cut up. So Ginny's Destiny is at the top of the market for the Turners. For me, very easy to side with a horse that's done it over course and distance. The trainer won the race last year. So did the jockey, who could not be riding any better at the moment. And as you go down the field, factor file, who knows, but seems to be preference for the Brown Advisory. Gaelic Warrior can't go left-handed. Iroko hasn't had an ideal prep. Facile Vega, we know I don't think he's all that good. Grey Dawning's another Brown Advisory horse. Ilete Thomas Founder 50 are cool. So everything you're looking at in the market is probably going elsewhere. And Ginny's Destiny is rock solid for the race.
Ginny's Destiny then, rock solid. Right, Mr. Ross, have you decided which one you're nailing your colours to?
I'm going to go Stellar Story, Albert Bartlett. 33-1 generally. Look, it's better than a DRF run. Strong stayer. Followed his point-to-point debut, the race that Corbett's Cross actually won, and then followed up with a win in that point-to-point. He's 2 out of 3 bumpers win. Won and placed over 2-4. Second over 2-7 by length. The 3 miles he's been, gagging to get back there. DRF, he jumped like a fridge, like we always say. Stick a line through that. Racing cliche. But Stellar Story, related strongly to Storyteller, one of my favourites. I would go with that. And I'm surprised that Frankie didn't mention the form at the weekend again, the Greatwood form. we managed to get all the way to the end without mentioning the Greatwood form.
Of Nemean Lion.
Yeah, Nemean Lion. It's there again. And
Tell you what I'm most looking forward to is next year's Greatwood, because from that day onwards, we've got the rest of the year sorted.
And I was checking, like, I got the Goffer yesterday, which was odds on and drifted 7-2 or something, because they smashed into that Willie Mullins horse, Cashback, ridden by the groom of Gallopin de Champs, by the way. And I was looking at the Ultima from last year this morning, Correct Rambler, Fast or Slow, Mogbeg Genius, and the Goffer back and forth. And I just put a little asterisk next to that one for maybe let's have a little look what's happening with that, because that was impressive yesterday.
I'll tell you what I'll do. There's got to be, for next week, there's got to be one horse that's running the Greatwood that has not yet shown its best, and that'll be the Cheltenham Festival winner to round off the year.
It's that Nichols horse. They want the yellow one.
Oh, yeah.
Sonagino.
Yeah.
Which one?
Sonagino.
That one, didn't it? Ascot.
Did it not
Run Aintree.
Yeah, it went to Kempton went to. Was it run a dog or race at Kempton?
It's one since, it's one.
Yeah, what Aintree? Was it Lands? Yeah, interesting.
Even the Bahrain Sun Lounger horse has nearly won.
Which one?
The Bahrain Sun Lounger horse, even that's nearly won. They've all had a go.
Right. I'm going to go for, it's about time, Chianti Classico in the Ultima for Kim Bailey. So I've had this horse on the radar for this race for a while and didn't really enjoy going right-handed, I don't think, at Kempton. And it was out wider throughout, wasn't it, through Harry Cobden. And only just got up and given a lot of weight to it Ascot at the time before, but his Chepstow run, beginning of the season, I was so impressed with him. Maybe left-handed is the way to go, but I think Novices who are up with the pace, I think, is usually a good format in the Ultima. And hopefully he'll give us a very good run in David Bask and see him firing him at most of the fences. So Chianti Classico for me in the Ultima. Right, boys, what's on the agenda for this week? We've got Kempton, the final few trials to look forward to. We're edging ever nearer. Our final show is going to be in the studio as well, our final Road to Cheltenham show. So we are dusting off the caps. Looking forward to Kempton and Newcastle this weekend, are we?
Yeah, not long, is it now? Quite a week for me. I've had 3 days on the road cancelled this week. I was supposed to go to Grand National Weights tomorrow. I was supposed to go to Bangor on Wednesday and Chester for a little...
So many jokes.
a little pre Chester May Festival on the Thursday, but I'm at home all week now, so I will just enjoy the handicap entries and start having a little look at that.
Okay, then. So no Bangor on Wednesday, just Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Joel, you've got the kids for half term.
Yeah, so therefore tomorrow I do something very special. I'm leaving them with the mother and I'm going to the Grand National lunch tomorrow to probably have too many drinks, make a fool of myself, and get some selfies with Nicky Henderson for any captions coming up. I do know what, I hope they put me next to him. What do you fancy? Sea bass, monkfish?
Fish cake.
Fish cake.
Enjoy
Heavy,
the lunch.
heavy.
Enjoy the lunch. We're going to start filming for our stable tours as well for the Cheltenham Festival this week. So watch out for those on Betfred YouTube channels and in our shops as well. Right, thanks to the boys for joining us. Joel can get back to his creepy crawlies in York and stop prattling around. And we'll join us on Friday. Don't forget, as I say, like, subscribe. Send us your picks as well, your fancies for the festival all the weekend. Frankie will pick them up and we'll share them and we'll pick them apart as well. We might be nice. We might poo-poo them as well, depending on what mood.
Hang on. So he's asking for that banger. You're asking to share your picks. What sort of picks are you looking for, Matt? This show's gone wrong. It's so wrong.
Yeah, usually toothpicks. So yeah, join us Friday. Hunter's Guide, Kempton, Newcastle, and hopefully we'll put in the right direction of a few winners as we try and build our festival betting bank.